Good evening. We are one day after Parashat Balak, the famous story of Balak and Bilam. Maybe I say a few words about that, but we are actually one day before the 3 weeks. 3 weeks, it's called Ben HaMetzarim. We are entering now a time which we remember the destruction of Bet HaMikdash. The 3 weeks, as we always see every year, always there's anger from Hashem on the entire world. Mamash like it's computer, mamash like computer. Every week, every year, when the 3 weeks start, tragedy after tragedy. Just in the last 2 days, 6 people drowned in the ocean in Israel, in a beach. 6 people, which usually doesn't happen in months, this kind of amount, in 2 days. And unfortunately, these 3 weeks, especially when you get close to Tisha B'Av, there's always a lot of people who drowns in the water. As a matter of fact, when you enter the water, even when you make 5-6 steps into the water does not even reach your knees. It's already hard to stand. You feel like the ocean is pulling you in. You gotta be very strong with your legs. If you're not, in less than a minute, it takes you inside and you cannot handle it. And that's what happened to people. So what do we see? Is it coincidence that every year, the same 3 weeks, the waves is 7-8 feet, and usually it's 2 feet, 3 feet. Now it's 7-8 feet starting, it could get even to 10 feet. The ocean is very angry. The Chazal warn us for all kinds of tragedies in this week. So people who have children, they send them to camps. It's very dangerous. Swimming pools, crossing streets, walking in streets, even here in Queens Boulevard. Everything you do now, you have to be extra cautious. Why? Because it's time of din, midat adin, which means judgment. Less mercy on the world, less. And that's why we have to be careful. No music, all these things, which is obvious. And then when we enter the 9 days, I'm going to give all the laws when it comes to wine and meat and haircut. It's a little bit different between Sfaradim and Ashkenazim. But I want to tell you, Chazal say that every generation the Bet HaMikdash is not built, the Holy Temple is not built, it's because of us. So we are actually caused the destruction of Bet HaMikdash, even though it's destroyed already for 2,000 years, almost. But the idea is that it's still not rebuilt. That means it's our fault. If we would do the right thing, the Bet HaMikdash would be rebuilt. One of the things after the Bet HaMikdash was destroyed is that the Romans, which they destroyed the second Bet HaMikdash, they made a decree. What the decree was? That in the old days, when the rabbis wanted to pass something that called smicha from one rabbi to his student, the way they used to do it is they used to use the head, somechet yadav, on a student, and pass him from his holiness, and makes him an official rabbi. It's called smicha. Today, someone who wants to become a rabbi, he just goes and pass some test, and he gets a certificate that is passed, Choshen u'Mishpat, Orach Chaim. There's 4 parts in Shulchan Aruch, and each one of them has a separate test. Once he passed the test, he gets a certificate by a certain rabbi that he examined him, and he passed, and he's a qualified rabbi. It's interesting, but the best rabbis in the world today don't even really have smicha, don't have an original certificate. They just became so knowledgeable and they learned so much Torah that they never even bother to go and get a certificate. I know one Talmid Chacham in Yerushalayim, perhaps he's the biggest Talmid Chacham that I know, and he doesn't have smicha. So I once asked him, why you don't have smicha? He said, because I don't want to get smicha. So I told him why. He said, because if I'll get smicha, I'm going to have to be mesader kiddushin to my students every night. In Israel, in order for you to make kiddushin, to make people marry, you need smicha. Because you have to be smicha from the Rabbanut. You have to get a certificate. So I have a great excuse. If I have smicha, my student will never leave me alone. Almost every day or every other day, one of them gets married, because I have hundreds of students, and there's shiva brachot, and this and that. I'll never have time to do anything. Like this, I tell them I don't have smicha. By the way, they have no options. They leave me alone. I can sit and learn Torah. Here is one excuse why he doesn't have smicha. There's many other reasons. One of the things the Romans did, pay attention, is like this. פעם אחת גזרה מלכות גזרה על ישראל. The Romans made a decree on the nation of Israel that every rabbi that will be caught making smicha for one of his students and make him an official rabbi will be killed immediately. And the student will get killed with him as well, right away. And not only that, it won't be enough for them to kill the Rav and the student. They will also destroy the entire town where it took place, the ceremony. And they will destroy the fences around the town and everything. There was a big tzaddik, his name was Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava. He went between two big mountains, which was a valley over there, out of the town, and in between two cities, not in this city and not in the other city. And the name of those cities was Usha and Shfaram in Israel. And he took 5 older students, which were very knowledgeable, and wanted to make them official rabbis, to give them smicha. Who were the 5 rabbis? Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Shimon, Rabbi Yossi, and Rabbi Elazar ben Shamua. There's another opinion that there were 6. One of them was Rabbi Nehemiah. You see those names a lot in the Gemara. What happened? The Romans, they were not that fool. They knew that the Jews trying to find a way to make students rabbis, so they used to follow them. So they follow Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava, and they came to that valley over there, and they saw what he does. All of a sudden, the Roman soldiers came from around the mountain, and they started to run after them. So Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava says, my student, run for your life. They say, Rabbi, we're not going to run without you. He said, I'm a lost case already. I cannot move my legs. I'm old. But you must save your life. They started to run away, and they were able to escape. But when they caught Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava, the Gemara says, they stuck 300 swords into his body. And when later they left him there, when the Jews came to pick him up to bury him, his body looked like a net. You know net, how a net looks? How many holes they made in his body. We are talking one of the cruelest nations in history, the Romans. Rome, you see Rome in Italy, that's a souvenir from what they left to us. You know, you come to Rome, you see the gate, you see Titus bringing the menorah of Bet HaMikdash. You should know that under the Vatican, they have 7 floors underground full of Jewish treasures, worth billions of dollars, maybe tens of billions. There's no price to it. The menorah of Bet HaMikdash, 680 kilo of pure gold, 1,300 pounds pure gold, but the gold is nothing. The gold it's important, but the menorah of Bet HaMikdash is right there under the Vatican. Not only the menorah, the chatzutzrot, and the trumpets, and all the treasures of Bet HaMikdash, the tools that the Kohanim used to use. And this is only one thing from Bet HaMikdash. Also, they have ancient handwriting of the biggest rabbis in history. Rambam. They have parts from the Rambam's original handwriting. Just to give you an idea, many years ago they found one page of Maimonides, the Rambam, with holes, many holes in a page. But there was original handwriting of the Rambam, a little piece of paper, which was on a scroll, on a ladder, like the mezuzah scroll. And guess what? How much it was sold for? $1 million. With all the holes, just one page of the handwriting of the Rambam. They have books of hundreds of rabbis, which they capture over the years. Every time they came and they attacked the Jews in Ashkenaz, in all the European cities, they were getting more and more valuable material, and they're going and bury it under the Vatican. Be'ezrat Hashem, when Mashiach comes, one of the things we're going to do, we will release all these things. If we don't release it right now, because there's no permission from Hashem. I'll tell you a secret that you may never heard before. About 3 or 4 years ago, Rabbi Aderet, I went to his house. You all know Rabbi Aderet, I'm sure. So I saw many faxes on his table. Faxes with stamp from Italy, from one of the priests in Italy. And he say, pray very strong in the next few weeks, because we're going to bring the menorah of Bet HaMikdash into my backyard. I thought it's a joke, menorah of Bet HaMikdash. So yes, there's one rabbi, he's the head of a big place, which already knows the menorah there. He made a deal, and they want $6 million for it. Somebody is willing to release it. This is before the old Pope died. He was very old. They already spoke to the new Pope, supposed to come in. And one Persian guy gave $1 million down payment, and he was supposed to give few more $1 million to release it. It was a whole operation to get it from there, bring it with a truck, with the guards, to bring it into New York, and bring it and bury it under the ground. It was supposed to be a secret operation. Every day we were nervous. No, is it going to go through? Is it going to go through? I saw all the faxes in my eyes with the stamp, with the Vatican, all the agreement, the deal, everything. And if something like this will go through, that means we were very close to Mashiach, because Hashem gave permission to get it after 2,000 years that it's buried there. Titus took it on a boat. So what happened is, in the last minute, the Jews always know how to ruin it for themselves more than anybody else. The two head rabbis of Israel, the Ashkenaz and the Sephardi, somehow found out that the Vatican is about to release the menorah to New York, and they went urgent immediately to meet one of the representatives of the Pope, and even the Pope. They went to the Pope. And they told him, we heard that you want to send somebody here, is about to send the menorah of the Bet HaMikdash to New York. Absolutely, we disagree. You have to send it to Israel. We are the representative of the Jewish nation. We are the head rabbis. When they found out about it, the deal went down. If they would not stick their nose over there, we would have the menorah in Monsey now. And that means, of course, Hashem didn't let us. It's all Mishamayim. They're really nothing. We have to know that everything happens with Hashem permission. But this is just one story of releasing the menorah. One of the things we wanted to do, because they don't permit to take cameras inside. The idea was to go under the ground over there and see all the treasures over there and film it. I remember I even went to a special guy that sells special glasses to the FBI. The FBI, they have a special glasses. An Israeli guy in Monsey has a laboratory out of Monsey. He's not even religious, this guy. Sitting over there, and he developed special glasses with a box. You put the box under your shirt, and whenever you look at it, films. Special glasses. The glasses is a video camera. So whenever you see, it automatically film it. Everything was ready to go, to film everything, to get the menorah. The rest, it never went through. So, Be'ezrat Hashem, we should know that Be'ezrat Hashem, if we were very close to it, and the Persian guy, by the way, I heard, I don't know what happened since then, he didn't even want his money back. So I made the mitzvah, I don't want to take it back. I wanted to release the menorah. The menorah never arrived to New York. We can only cry for that opportunity that we lost. The Gemara says, there used to be few miracles in the time of Bet HaMikdash, that if a person has doubt if Hashem runs the world or not, all he had to do is come to Bet HaMikdash and see. One of the miracles, for instance, they used to slaughter the animals. Have you ever been to a butcher store? You saw the smell over there? It's terrible. A lot of flies over there, especially in the hot weather. In Bet HaMikdash, nobody ever saw one fly inside. Tons of meat, all the time is opened up, the meat, the animals, no bugs, no flies, nothing is flying inside. Bet HaMitbachim, when they used to butcher the animals. Also, when they used to sacrifice the animals on the altar, the smoke used to go straight up, even in a windy day. The smoke never went around, always stuck like a pole, always going up. The music that the Levites, the Leviim used to play, they used to hear it 20 miles away, without any microphones, without any speakers. Automatically the music, people who heard that music, they felt that their soul coming out of their body. If you see that they made today, somebody made a great DVD, 3 parts about the way of Bet HaMikdash. Mamash, like, it's mamash looks, you feel like you're there. And at that time, they show you the gates, how they were open, how the Kohen was dressed. Mamash, perfect movie. With major investment to give our kids an indication how the time of Israel was 2,000 years ago. We lost it. 2,000 years we are waiting for the opportunity to rebuild Bet HaMikdash. The Gemara says, in the time of Bet HaMikdash, we used to have Sanhedrin, the Chachamim, 71 Chachamim, they used to sit in a place called Lishkat HaGazit. And over there, whenever they have a doubt in a law, they used to sit and vote. And that's why there was 71, because you always should have majority, what's the halakha should be. Later, after Bet HaMikdash was destroyed, then what happened? Then we don't have Sanhedrin. Even though about 250 years ago, I'm sure you heard about Napoleon. Napoleon gave permission to the Jews to renew Sanhedrin. They were already negotiating of getting all the 71 biggest Chachamim and put them in a place called Sanhedrin and revived the Sanhedrin. It never went through. It never went through. And the reason Napoleon, in the beginning of his life, he wasn't so pro-Jews. But one time he came to a synagogue and he saw the Jews are sitting on the floor crying. And he asked his soldier, what's going on here? Why are they sitting, all these people sitting here and crying? What happened? He said they're crying for the holy temple that was destroyed. So Napoleon said, if I'm not mistaken, that was 1800 years ago that they lost their temple in Jerusalem. He said, yeah, you're right. So now they remember to cry? He said, no, they cry every year for it. Every year on the day of the destruction, they sit like this, they fast, they sit on the floor, they don't wear leather shoes, they sit and cry. So he says like this, a nation that has tradition has a future. I'm sure they will revive their temple if that's what they do. And this is the truth. The Gemara Chazal says, he did not say anything new. Chazal says, Dor, that when all of us mourn together for the Jerusalem, if there are Jews who do not come to participate in the mourning of Bet HaMikdash, when the Bet HaMikdash will be rebuilt and Jerusalem will be rebuilt according to Hashem's wish, this Jew cannot participate in a celebration. Measure for measure. You did not fast. You did not cry for Yerushalayim. You did not cry for Yerushalayim. You're not going to see the salvation of Yerushalayim. Chas v'shalom. Who wants to be in this category? I remember maybe 10 years ago, I came to a restaurant here in Queens Boulevard. I had blessing in that place. Every time I came to visit there, Hashem gave me a gift to make few Israelis religious. So one time when I came there, the Yemenite guy, his name is Menashe Tzvi, Pita House, right here in Queens Boulevard. You can ask him. There was a Yemenite guy, non-religious, his name is Hajbi, Oren Hajbi. He's a traveler coming from one place to another, going on a trip. He has a bag, sandals, jeans, glasses. I looked at him, I meet him, I begin to talk to him. After an hour conversation, I told him, why don't you come with me to Muncie? I'll take you see the yeshiva. So he said, what do you mean, yeshiva, the learning? I say, yeah, what do you have to lose? A week, good, not good, you leave. Nobody holds you there. So, okay, you know what? Anyway, I'm in between now. Okay, I'll come with you. On the way there, on the Palisades Parkway, he started to hesitate. He looks at me, he says, wait a minute. Everyone over there is black, black hats, black clothes. I say, darker than the night. It's all black, ugly, scary. He said, why did I come with you? It's not for me, I'm not interested. I told him, it's too late. You can check out any time, but you can never leave, I told him. So he said, no, maybe you'll get me back, I'll pay you for the gas. I said, no, my friend, we're going over there, no problem. So we went there. It was night, everyone was sleeping, show him the yeshiva. Few months later, not even 2-3 months later, I brought another guy to the yeshiva in the middle of the night. I come, I turn the light in the yeshiva, what do I see? This Hajbi became such a tzaddik in 2-3 months. He was hugging the Sefer Torah, 2 o'clock at night, crying, tears, praying, inside the yeshiva alone, everyone is sleeping. I come, I said, what are you doing? Told him, Tikkun Chatzot I do. What Tikkun Chatzot? Is mourning for the destruction of Bet HaMikdash. Then I started to follow up on these guys. I saw that he's a special neshama. One time I walk on the street, I see him coming. He comes to me. I say, hi Oren. He looks at me. He didn't recognize me. So I don't have my glasses. I cannot see anything without my glasses. So I told him, so why don't you put your glasses when you walk? He said, there's not modest ladies out there. I don't want to see anything. So I rather walk like this. If somebody called me, I recognize him by the voice. And this is Monsey. In Monsey, at least 10 years ago, you did not see any not modest woman. It's not Brooklyn or Queens. But he was walking without his glasses. Baruch Hashem, one day he decided to go to Eretz Israel. He landed in Eretz Israel, got married right away, within weeks. Who did he marry? There's another nice guy here, Sharabi, his name. He's in real estate, Shmuel Sharabi. You know him? He's around here for many years. He married his sister. He's now a big Talmid Chacham, sits learning now more than 10 years. Serious. 100% in the Torah, with all his art. Tikkun Chatzot, by the way, you should know, it's even more important than Slichot in Elul. Rav Ovadia Yosef brings in his book that if a person can do one of the two, Tikkun Chatzot, which takes 20 minutes, or Slichot, which takes an hour, it's better to do Tikkun Chatzot. That's the level of Tikkun Chatzot. Sit on the floor and cry for the destruction of Bet HaMikdash. Why? Of course, we're not crying for the actual building that burned and... A building, what's a building? If we wanted to build today Bet HaMikdash, you would have a line of 1,000 millionaires that willing to give out all the money to build Bet HaMikdash. There won't be a hard mission to raise a few $1 million to build it. The actual thing, the actual thing is, thank you. The actual thing is not the actual building. We have to cry that the Shekhinah, that the Spirit of Hashem went out of Bet HaMikdash. The Gemara says, after Bet HaMikdash was destroyed, there's no more Sanhedrin. So what happened? When a person needs execution, he deserves an execution for one of the sins he made. The Torah says like this: after the Bet HaMikdash was destroyed, then everybody who deserves execution, Hashem does it. How is it? Let's see. Tanya, Amar Shimon ben Shatach, אראה בנחמה, אם לא ראיתי אחד שרץ אחר חברו לחורבה ורצתי אחריו וראיתי סייף בידו ודמו הרוג ומפרפר ואמרתי לו רשע, מי הרג לזה? I'll explain in a minute. או אני או מטפטף אתה, אבל מה יעשה שאין דמך מסור בידי? שהרי אמרה תורה. We ran into a destroyed house in a dark evening, dark night, and he saw two Jews, one ran after the other, and when he followed him inside, he saw him running after him with a sword. By the time he got inside, he saw one is dead on the floor, and the other one is holding a sword full of blood. And he told him, hey, you wicked, who killed him, you or me? The rabbi told him, you killed him. Whose sword is dripping, yours or mine? Yours. But what can I do that I have to stick to the Torah? The Torah said that you need 2 witnesses in order to kill you. I know you're a murderer and you deserve death, but I'm only one witness and I don't have a second one with me. So he says, but don't worry. The one who reads the mind of human being, he will take care of you. The Gemara says, after he finished his sentence, moments after, a poison snake came and beat that murderer and killed him right away. The Gemara says, Amar Rav Yosef, Miyom shecharav Bet HaMikdash, from the time Bet HaMikdash was destroyed, even though Sanhedrin was dismissed, the 4 methods of executions were not cancelled from the world. It does not practice by the Sanhedrin or by the people of Bet HaMikdash, but if a person deserves stoning, he either falls from the roof or from a building, or something hit him very hard, or an animal ran and banged into him, and someone who deserves burning, either he falls into fire, or a snake beat him, and the poison of the snakes feels inside like fire, and someone who deserves to be killed with a sword, either the Romans come and take him and kill him with a sword, or a robber stab him to death on the road to steal his money, and someone who deserves choking, either he drowned in a river, or there's some kind of disease that choke a person from his throat. So everything is the same, just Hashem does it instead of the rabbis. You know, in the time of Bet HaMikdash, the rabbis were doing everything they could not to execute anybody. So the Gemara say, once in 70 years they used to execute a Jew. Once in 7 years. Not that there was no Jews that deserved death, but they were doing everything they can not to kill anybody with their hands. For instance, if somebody was coming and he was deserved they suspect him of making a crime that deserved death, so they used to investigate the witnesses in separate rooms, and they did their best to find contradiction between their words. Even one stupid contradiction. For instance, where did you see him killing him? He say, in that street. What time? 2 o'clock. They say the same time. Where was it? Under the tree. What tree? The peach tree. What was the size of the peach? The peaches on the tree. So one says like this, 1 ounce each peach, and one say 1.5 ounce each peach. They say, oh, there's a contradiction between what you say and he said, you can go. Why do they do it? When you have such strong faith in Hashem, why should we kill him? Let Hashem take care of him. Hashem told us the only way to kill a person is when the testimonies are 100% equal. They have a case in Israel been going on for more than a year. You are American, so you're not aware so much of what's going on in Israel, but I'll tell you briefly about the story. The president of Israel, today he quit, today, finally. The president of Israel was blamed by few girls for raping them or doing all kinds of crimes with them. And for 1 year, every day they spilled his blood on the media. Every channel, every newspaper. There was not one day they left him alone. Not one day. They film him coming out of his house, writing terrible things about him all over. And they say he's going to go to prison for the rest of his life. He's destroyed, he's finished. Guess what happened? After 1 year of spilling his blood like a river, today the minister of the courts came out and said we have to make a plea bargain deal with him. What happened? No rape, no this. He is guilty of kissing her and speaking bad words to her. 99% of what they claim went out of the case. Why? Because they were lying. One time they asked them, how many times you called him after it happened? She said once. They took the telephone record, she called him 35 times. All kinds of things like this. What do you see from here? Today, in the non-religious world, before they even trial your case, already the media destroy you. Destroyed your children, destroyed your marriage, destroyed your life, destroyed your business, destroyed your health, destroy you completely, and then after you finish, you have no way to recuperate. Oh, contradictions. The girl wasn't saying the truth. So what happened? We'll make a deal with you. You're going to confess that you did 1, 2, 3. We drop the main charges. We'll give you a penalty. and you go back home, but what back home? Your life is finished. This is what happened when you don't have Torah. And that's why the Torah came to warn us so much from these things. Nobody is allowed to suspect a person before the court found him guilty. As long as he wasn't found guilty, no one is even allowed to say that he's a criminal. You can give him aliyah to the Torah. You know tomorrow the court will decide if to kill him or not. They suspect him of murdering, of this, of that. You cannot do anything to him. Unless if the court print, this person was found guilty of being Mechalel Shabbos or being a murderer, and this is completely innocent. It's very difficult. The Gemara even say better than this. The Gemara say every person who comes to your home, every person, you have to treat them in two ways. In one way, you have to think that he is the president, Rabban Gamliel. You have to treat him like the king of Israel. The president, Rabban Gamliel. On the other hand, you have to look at him, he's a robber that came to rob you. One of the two. How can it be? Complete two different contradictions. I mean, it's a huge contradiction, two edges. Robber or Rabban Gamliel, the president? You don't know. It could be this, it could be that. It can range anywhere between this criminal to the president. Since you don't know, you have to give him the respect because you don't know who he is. At the same time, you have to be very careful with him. You have no permission to leave him alone in a house or near your children or give him your car. He may never show up. You know, there are things you'll be surprised. You know, I tell you something that happened. When a person brings a guest to his house for Shabbat, right? Does he ever dream that this person will rob him in Shabbat and disappear? It's not realistic, right? A person has to be really, really dirty and low life to do such a thing. To come as a guest to someone for Shabbos and rob him from his house and live in the middle of Shabbat. And so that's very unlikely to happen. But did you ever think that maybe he's a drug addict? And drug addict doesn't think, because even if it was his mother, he will rob everything she has? You never took that to consideration. So it happened to my friend. Somebody addicted to drugs came to his house, he needed drugs, and he found some things in the house. In the middle of Shabbat, he stole everything and disappeared. Why? It's not his fault. He's addicted to drugs. It's an addiction. He cannot control himself. If he had to kill his father and mother for one time that the drugs that he needs for the next few hours, he will do it. It's a fact. It's a fact. You know, many times people come, Rabbi, speak to my son, speak to my cousin, they're in drugs, they want to get out of it, get them to the yeshiva. I tell them, please. The Torah is a cure almost to everything, it's true. But someone who is addicted to drugs, you cannot treat him in yeshiva. No, you have to first treat him professionally. Once he gets clean out of it, then you need continuation. From there, you bring him into the yeshiva, he can become a big tzaddik. But if you bring him while he's under the addiction, it's not going to help. A day or two later, he will disappear and rob a house somewhere and find a place to buy drugs. You cannot control it. They just can't control it. It's mamash. Houses are broken because of kids like this that went into that thing. Tanu Rabbanan. The Gemara says like this: when Hashem created Adam, He created one man. Chazal ask, why He did not create few in one shot? Why one? Create 500 people in one shot. What's the problem? You have a problem? Create many. Why you have to create one? Why? Because the people would come and say there's many Hashems. Each one created one. So Gemara says. The Gemara says there's another reason. Because there are people who are righteous and there are people who are wicked. And the righteous would say, we are descendants from the righteous people, and the wicked say, we are descendants from the wicked people. We are from the righteous, we are from the wicked. Or that they won't start having fights between them right away as they created. So there will be one Father, everybody recognize we all belong to one. But if there will be few created equally, oh, how many contradictions and problems and arguments you will have in the world. Tanu Rabbanan, it says like this, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהאדם תובע כמה מטבעות בחותם אחד וכולם דומים זה לזה. אבל הקדוש ברוך הוא תובע כל אדם בחותמו של אדם הראשון. When people make coins, so they make few each coin equal to the other one with the same thing. It looks exactly the same. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu never made two people exactly the same. Each one is unique in something. They can look alike, but they look different. There's always going to be a difference, either in the fingerprints, some different, even equal twins, they have some differences in them. It says like this: why their faces is not exactly the same? Because if people would look exactly the same, this is what they want to do. They want to clone people. You know what's going to be the danger if they clone people? Imagine somebody cloned 500 bin Laden. And now you caught the real bin Laden, another 400 showed up to the court. I am the one. I'm the one. It's me, you know. How are you going to know? Because of the doubt, you're going to have to let all of them go. If 400 comes and say, a group of 400 terrorists, they all look the same. One of them did something, you caught him, and then somebody else say, no, it wasn't him, it was me. And then another one comes and say, it was me. The world would be destroyed. If it would be the president, like Saddam Hussein had few people that look like him, you know. So every time they called him, they were not sure if it's him or somebody else. Even when the Americans called him, they needed to go for weeks to investigate 100% that they caught the right one. And they were never sure 100%, because there's somebody say, no, that's not the real Saddam, it's somebody else. And it's very dangerous. So Hashem didn't want people to look alike. And He made them